Okay, class. Today we will be talking about water. So you can see that these all have water in common and everything. What do you think that water has to do with all of these?
We use it.
We do use it. You can actually use salt from the ocean. We usually don't. It's kind of not so great. The well, that's underground water, and we use it for our drinking water. And the water, that's mountain runoff, which we also use as drinking water. Okay, so what do you think a dinosaur has in common with water and you? Just think about this. When you look at this picture, you think of Jurassic Park, you think of T-Rexes, Stegosauruses, running away from them, like, it's kind of scary, right? Happy they aren't on Earth right now. But it's very interesting that you and water have something in common with this dinosaur. And that's how we will be explaining this later on. Just want you to think about it. Okay, so this is the water cycle. And as you remember from our previous lesson, I talked a little bit briefly on the water cycle, condensation, precipitation, and then evaporation up at the top. And it all goes in a circle like that, continuously. Today we will be focusing on the processes of condensation, precipitation, and evaporation. So, for evaporation, the sun heats up the water from lakes, oceans, seas, rivers, any water there is, and it evaporates, and the water turns from a liquid state to a gas state, and basically becomes water vapor and rises into the atmosphere. And this is the process of evaporation. Does anyone have any questions on it? About evaporation, or is it all clear to you? Mackenzie.
So why doesn't all the water evaporate then?
Because there is the water, because the sun doesn't have enough energy to heat a whole entire, it's like boiling it, you know? It doesn't have enough energy to heat the whole entire body of the lake or the ocean. There's just too much water. You know that most of our Earth is made out of water.
Thank you.
Okay. Good question though. Really good question.
Really good.
Okay. So with this, don't answer yet, but I want you to hold up your finger, one finger if you think it's number 1, and 2 fingers if it's number 2. So which one of these is an example of evaporation? Good job. Number 2 is an example of evaporation. The examples of evaporation doesn't just have to be coming from lakes or oceans. We actually evaporate water all the time. So when your mom's cooking noodles on the stove for macaroni, you have the stove which heats the pot underneath it, and it boils the water, and then steam comes out, which is the evaporation. So in a sense, the stove can be the sun, and the water that's in the pot is a lake or an ocean or a sea or a river, and as it heats it up, the water will evaporate and turn into a gas state or water vapor, steam that you can see, and it rises into the atmosphere and then you can't see it anymore. Does anyone have any questions about this, or can anyone give me any examples of this? Of evaporation that you see in your everyday life?
So is that what you feel when you cook pasta and it's all in your face?
Yes, that is the evaporation. Or when you open a dishwasher and your glasses and all the steam comes out, that's evaporation. Good job. Okay, now condensation. When the temperature of the air goes down, the water vapor that has risen turns back into a liquid state and condenses. Because if the water vapor is now liquid, it condenses and forms the clouds. And that's why we get these white clouds over here. So pretty, huh? I love clouds. Okay, so this is the temperature lowering, and as it rises, obviously, you get further away from the earth and the air gets colder. The water vapor turns into a liquid state, back from a gas state, and then you get the formation of clouds, which we all love to look at and see if there are any pictures you recognize in. So this is called condensation. This comes right after evaporation, and it can be the water on the mirror in the bathroom after someone has showered. Another example from this, the reason why it does that is because the water vapor from the hot shower, which has evaporated, reaches the mirror, and the surrounding air around the mirror is cooler than the air by the hot shower, so the water droplets start to condense on the mirror, and that's why you get that effect. Okay, with the same process, I want you to answer this question. Which of these do you think is an example of condensation? Okay, so you all answered one, and that is the correct answer. Sorry. Okay, so the glass of water is an example of condensation. This is because the cold water in the cup is surrounded by warm air. So when you are on the beach, obviously they're on the beach because you can see it behind you, and you get a nice cold glass of water and you sit down and you have ice in it, you notice that there are water droplets on your glass of water. This is an example of everyday condensation that doesn't happen up in the atmosphere. So this happens quite regularly. You can also have it as a shower, and even from your glasses, when you open the dishwasher, you have the evaporation coming out, but then when it hits the cold air, it condenses on your glasses and you get water droplets on your glasses. Okay, so precipitation is when more and more water condenses together into a cloud, becoming more and more heavy. So originally, water droplets, when the water vapor turns into a liquid state, they're very, very tiny, and that's why they don't just fall down to the ground straight away. So the clouds gather the water vapor, the liquid, and you start to see them condensing more and more, and they all just come together more and more until they are too heavy to hold. So there's so much water that has condensed in the clouds. So as you can see, this cloud, it's small at first and then it gets bigger and bigger because it's filling up with water. The water is then released in the form of rain or anything else that comes down from the clouds, because the cloud in the atmosphere cannot hold the water any longer. Does anyone have any questions about this? Nope, we're good. Okay. Happy to hear it. Okay, I want you to do the same process and hold up one finger for number 1 and 2 fingers for number 2. Which of these do you think is an example of precipitation? Good job! It is number 1. I saw some confused looks. The reason why number 2 isn't is because it's not coming from a cloud. I mean, I guess it's kind of falling though, so I guess you could call it. But anyways, number 1 is snow. So, it's actually a hailstorm. That was actually a hailstorm. Sorry guys. Hailstorm. The form of precipitation can come down in rain, snow, hail, sleet. I think that's all of them. Rain, snow, hail, sleet. And yeah, okay. So it just depends on the temperature outside. So when the cloud has too much moisture in it and it falls down, if the temperature outside is like below 32, the water freezes on its way down and becomes snow or hail. I don't know. Or if it's warm, it's water. And yep. Does anyone have any questions about this? Thanks. Good job, you guys. You're doing good. Oh, question?
So the clouds have to be big in order for it to rain?
They don't have to exactly be big, but the cloud has to, the moisture in the cloud has to weigh so much that the atmosphere in the cloud cannot hold it up any longer. So it's got to be heavy. So it depends on the cloud size. Okay. Okay, can you all get out a piece of paper and a pen and match these with evaporation, condensation, or precipitation? I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, let's see you do it. Good job. Good job, you guys. You guys are doing really good. Okay. Does anyone need any more time? No? Okay, good. Okay, so number 1, can someone tell me what this is?
Precipitation.
Precipitation, good, because this is snow coming down. Number 2, can anyone tell me what that is?
Condensation.
Good job, because there are water droplets condensing on a glass. Number 3, can someone tell me that?
Precipitation.
Yes, that is rain. Number 4, can anyone tell me what this is?
Evaporation.
Condensation.
Oh.
Condensation, no.
Evaporation.
Yeah, it's evaporation. Can you tell me why it's evaporation?
Because the water is going into the air.
Mm-hmm. So the water, the liquid has turned into a water vapor or gas state, and so that's why you can't physically, you can't touch it really, because it's not there. If it was condensation, you would be able to see water droplets. Okay. So number 5, can you tell me what that is?
Condensation.
Yes, good job. And 6.
Evaporation.
Evaporation, smart, good job. The reason why it's evaporation, that's actually a hot spring. So this is actually not being heated from the sun, but the core of the earth, and it heats the water in the hot spring, and so steam comes off, which evaporates into the air and rises into the air. Okay. Now, let's see. This process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation never ends. It's a never-ending cycle, and it keeps going and going. So as you can see, it goes from, I like to start over here actually, evaporation, and then condensation, and then precipitation, and then it gathers again together, all in the ocean, lakes, streams, anything that's waterish, and then it evaporates again and condenses again. So the water that we are actually drinking and using in our everyday lives is water that has been here since the beginning of the earth, or the beginning of water on earth. So that brings us to dinosaurs again. So what does this mean with the dinosaurs? If the water's been here since the beginning of the earth, then the water that we're using today has been here since dinosaurs. So you could be drinking water that a dinosaur stepped in. Or you could be drinking water that, I know, it's gross, huh? But it's clean water, don't worry, it's clean. You could be drinking water that a dinosaur drank out, like, you could be drinking out of a lake, or, okay, you could be drinking out of a glass. You don't drink out of a lake. You drink a glass of water, and that water could have come from a lake that a dinosaur was drinking out of. I know it's gross to say, but their pee, okay? Their pee, you can actually evaporate your pee, or the chemicals in your pee, so it can actually become drinking water again. I don't know how that is done, but I know that happens when people need to survive. And so you could be drinking dinosaur pee. I'm sorry, you guys.
Ew.
It's gross, but it's cool to think that the water that you were using and drinking out of was there, and the dinosaurs saw that exact same water droplet. It's cool, okay? And we all love dinosaurs, huh?
Yes.
Can you guys think of anything else that's cool that the water has gone through a period of time that you think is cool that other people have seen?
Like tsunamis and stuff.
Tsunamis, yeah, the water's gone through tsunamis, and it's gone through big waves and hurricanes and stuff like that. Tornadoes. So tornadoes usually have rain, right?
And
Yeah.
sharks.
And sharks. Yeah, see, you could be drinking water that a shark swam through. That's amazing. Okay,
I'm not
so
gonna drink water anymore.
Never drinking water again.
we could be swimming in water that a prehistoric fish swam in, which is really cool. That fish is from the beginning of, towards the beginning of the world, and you could be using water that was used in the Greeks and the Roman time. And so the next time you drink a glass of water, I want you to think about what that water has been through, and that it will be recycled again and again. And yeah, thank you, everyone. For our next lesson, we're going to finish the water cycle of the collection of water and the different lakes it's